Karis writes, so what do you do when you're going out with friends and there's alcohol? ... What are some ways to still go out and have fun without fucking up your nutrition program by consuming alcohol? Well, Karis, that's a good question. And we're going to cover that on the Total Body Training podcast today, where I help you get lean, gain muscle, and build confidence. And today we're talking about alcohol. So my client, Karis, asked me exactly what I would do when I was going out with friends. How do I still have a good time and not consume alcohol while I'm trying to stay on my nutrition program? So I'm going to go over my tips, and I have some personal experience with this as a person who toured a lot, partied a lot, was in a band, did all sorts of stuff. I was on drugs, alcohol. That was a big part of my life for a long time. And it's not that I think that having a drink or maybe other things from time to time is awful or going to ruin your life or anything like that, but it definitely will conflict with your goals, in my humble opinion. And in my own experience of fucking up and then trying to unfuck myself. So, Karis and anyone else who's listening, this is my first tip. Let me pull this up from my phone because I actually sent this to her. These are things that I've done. So, tip number 1. Make sure you order a drink. Okay, so this is, let's back up here. If you go out with friends, let's say to a nice evening where you listen to jazz music, or to the club, and you just want to hang out with friends, shoot some pool, whatever have you, okay? If it's a place that predominantly or mostly sells alcohol, and everybody's got a drink in their hand, you are going to look awkward if you don't have a drink. All right, and you need to fit in just a little bit. Not only that, but you're kind of loitering if you're at a bar and you're not purchasing anything. You might get a stink eye from the bartender, if you know what I'm saying. So my recommendation is that you purchase a non-alcoholic beverage from the bar. And all bars have non-alcoholic beverages. Don't get water. You could get something like a diet soda. Oh no, but soda has aspartame in it, and if I drink aspartame, I'm gonna get cancer like those rats in that study. Maybe, probably not right now, all right? And if aspartame freaks you out, get something else. Like if you're in San Antonio or if you're in Texas, they probably have some sparkling water like a Topo Chico. If you're somewhere else, they probably have like a La Croix or a Perrier if you like more of the French variety of water that sparkles. Those options will be sufficient for you, and you can get like a little lime. You can spice it up with that little extra flavor in your drink, and then you won't look so out of place. And then you're also paying money to the bartender, and you kind of fit in a way, all right? So that's my first tip, so that you can kind of just blend in with everybody else. And along with that being said, you don't necessarily need to make this publicly known either. So you don't need to make a public declaration that you are choosing not to drink. You can just get your drink in privacy, and if, you know, see where the night goes, okay? And I'll explain why in just a second here, why I, don't think you need to make a public declaration. I would wait till people ask you. And, tip number 2, okay, goes into something I would say, which is just recognize that if you usually drink and you're getting that, recognize in advance that people are going to expect you to drink. So if you've been going out with the gals and Cheryl and everybody and doing kamikaze shots and getting wasted every single night, they're going to think it's strange if you deviate from the usual program, all right? If you don't get the Sex on the Beach, Cosmopolitan, whatever drink you get, the Smirnoff, whatever drink you get, in my case, a gin and tonic, if you don't get that, people are going to be like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? All right. And in that case, we roll into my next tip. If someone asks you why you aren't drinking, start off by doing this. Just be like, I'm just trying something different. I'm trying to not drink as much. I'm, just dieting a little bit, and I'm good. Make sure you say I'm good. Because if you say I'm dieting and it sucks and this is so difficult for me and I just really want to drink, they will see the opportunity to tempt you to fall into what you're doing. And that temptation will go into this kind of mode. It'll be something like this. Oh, but you can have one drink. Can't you just, one drink never hurt nobody. But in your situation right now, you might need to not have just one drink. Not that having one drink is going to ruin your diet or wreck you or anything like that, but it's definitely going to set you back, especially if that drink has a ton of sugar and garbage and stuff like that in it. So if you're trying not to drink and you don't want to get white girl wasted that evening, then just make sure that you don't succumb to any kind of peer pressure and don't open yourself up to it. So just be like, nah, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm going to have a good time tonight. I'm fine with my drink. And make sure you say that and you smile. All right. You show people that you're happy about the fact that you are doing this plan, and hopefully no one will give you too much shit about your decision to not drink that night. Now, another thing that could happen that you might encounter is just a little bit of resistance. So you might run into this. People could say something like, boo, you're boring. Why aren't you having fun? And this might be a recurring theme the more crunk that people get this evening. So ignore that. That's my tip. Ignore it. Don't give into it and just say, no, I'm good. Because you are good. Because you're working on yourself. Because tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, geez, you know what? I feel good while everybody else is hungover. Or I feel good that I didn't partake in that and I didn't break my diet. And the more you do that, the more you stick to what you actually want in life, the better you're going to feel and the more committed you're going to feel to your plan. It's literally going to get hardwired into your brain that you're just not doing that shit right now. And the process of saying, no, I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm good will become easier and easier for you as time goes along. Let me check what else I told Karis here. All right, so most of the time you should realize, this is important, and this is kind of like a side note, but most of the time you should realize that people aren't going to be as supportive as you wish they would be. They're just not, and I know that it's good to have friends, and you should definitely be around people who support you. I'm all for that. If you want to know more about that, watch the Haters podcast, but not everybody's going to understand you, and the truth is for you to expect for everyone to jump on board with you is a little bit maybe wrong, for lack of a better word, for you to think of. You've got a pretty skewed view on reality on your life if you think that everybody's got to understand what you think. Everybody's got to know what I think. Why doesn't anybody understand me and my diet? Why doesn't anybody... Not everybody's supposed to understand you, and that's okay, right? If someone continues to peer pressure you, watch my haters video. I talk about that there. But just recognize that you're going to have to be strong in this process, and it's okay. Because ultimately, whenever you are doing this, you're working on yourself and you're having a good time because you're working on your actual goal. That's why you've not chosen to drink that night. So you need to be resolved and strong as fuck in the choice that you've made and in the future version of yourself, believing in that future version of yourself. All right. Now, here's the next part. As for having a good time. How do you have a good time without having a few drinks in your system? How did you have a good time when you couldn't drink? When you were, say, a kid, or when you were a teenager? How did you have a good time back then? Well, you didn't care. When you're a kid, you just ran around, you played, you shook, right? Maybe not kids nowadays on their iPhones and iPads and stuff like that, but kids played. If you're like me and you're a millennial, you remember monkey bars and stuff like that, right? You remember a time when we played outside. So maybe what you should do is you should use this as an opportunity to just play and find something new out about yourself. How am I when I go out and I'm not drunk? How am I? How do I play and still have a good time? Right? Open yourself up to the opportunity and give yourself an excuse or cut yourself some slack initially, because it's going to be a little strange. You might feel a little bit stiff and awkward being around all these drunk people, but, give yourself an excuse to play and have a good time, okay? I've heard people say, in the case of like dancing, oh, I can't go out and dance if I don't have a drink. Well, maybe it's because you don't like dancing. Have you thought about that? Maybe dancing just isn't your thing. That's okay. You don't have to dance if you don't want to. Or maybe it is your thing and you could try it without having the drink. Whoa. And you know what? People do it all the time at ballroom classes, at studios, at hip hop classes. It's not like people are getting crunk and drunk up in those classes, all right? You can dance without drinking. You can go out and have a good time. And here is the thing. You will make more genuine connections without the alcohol. What? Wait, I don't know about that. I mean, I've met so many people that way, Jean. How is that possible? My whole inner circle is based on that. If we were to be completely honest, at least in my own personal life, many of the people in my inner circle who I met while being drunk didn't stay there. So that means that we didn't have real, how do you say it? True connections. Okay. We got drunk, we partied, we, listened in the club, we listened to the song, and we had a good time. But I mean, that came and went, and a lot of those things were really superficial. And I definitely think that you can have a good time with your friends and with your partners with drinking and with alcohol. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it can't open you up and have conversations that you couldn't otherwise have. What I am saying is that the connections that you'll make will probably be more genuine when you're going out if there isn't alcohol involved from the get-go. Just hands down. They will be more genuine and more real, and you will savor them more and you will remember them better if you do that, if you have true connections with people. So, just remember that. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Jean, you are so uptight. I mean, come on, bro. How do you go out and not drink? I mean, have you never lived? Come on, live a little. You know what? I've actually lived a lot. Quite a bit. More than some people I personally know. Okay? Have you ever dropped acid and ran around the woods naked drinking vodka? I don't know of a lot of people, at least here at Total Body Training, who've done that. I'm pretty open about my times doing alcohol, doing drugs, doing stuff like that. Do I regret those times? No. But do I want to go back to them? Not at all. Just hop on Facebook. If you don't believe me, hop on my Facebook and look at my personal Facebook, not the Total Body Training Facebook, Jean Carlos Gonzalez. Spelled Jean Carlos Gonzalez. Really spelled Jean Carlos Gonzalez, but you get the point if you know me. So, hop on there and look at any pictures before 2012, and I look like shit. I'm drinking all the time. I'm a mess. I am not in shape whatsoever. Just hop on there and look at that. I leave that on there so that people can see the kind of person that I used to be. They can see that I haven't always been this little clean-cut guy who wears Nike shorts that are maybe a little bit too short or something, all right? It's the point is that I've lived. So if any of you are doubting or thinking this guy is really uptight or anything like that, nay, I have partied a lot. And in the future, I will party again. There's nothing wrong with partying. I'm not demonizing partying. There's nothing wrong with having alcohol. I'm not demonizing having alcohol. I'm just saying that if you're trying to go out and not partake because you are on some kind of diet, or not partake because the next morning you got shit to do. You got plans, which is really a big part of my personal life. I'm a business owner. I can't just be getting drunk all the time. In Karis's case, she's a student. She just can't be getting drunk all the time, and she's dieting. Can't be getting drunk on that, right? So, if you've got some kind of goal, just stick to it and you'll be stronger because of it. And finally, I just want to point something out. Let's say that you go out and you do have, you're planning on going out and you're not going to drink, okay? And you drink anyways, okay? Try to drink clear liquor with water or with soda. Hands down. So like gin or a vodka will work great, and don't overdrink it. You don't need to drink it until, the end of the night. Just drink a little bit and you won't regret it. You'll feel much better, and the next day you'll operate better and you won't feel like you fudged up your diet so badly. You'll be the one that's in the control of your life and your body at that point if you only have one, because you don't have to keep having them after you did that. It's not, I messed up, so I might as well go ahead and have as much as possible. No, stop and say, one is good enough. For me, nowadays, 1 or 2 is good enough when I do go out and drink, because my tolerance is so much lower that I'm up on the bar stool if I have more than 2. Seriously. So anyways, people, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Total Body Training Podcast. And until next time, peace.